Hey y'all, Dr. Charli here. Glad you're with me. Um, Usually, the way these Charlie chats come about is kind of what's on my mind in the moment and how can I tie that in to have something to say in a concise way. I'm working on being concise. This morning, as I was taking my walk, I was really in tune to all the multi layers of how healing happens, how it occurs, and really just the layers of shedding and retransitioning back into something we say we want. So let's take our deep breaths and then we'll pick that conversation up right there. Our breath is so important, even as we heal, even in our healing processes. I was thinking about how sometimes we hit the same thing a couple different points from a couple different vantage points, and that's healing. But really specifically, how everything is multi-layered. Once for about a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe it wasn't that long, I was in rage and I was so fully in my rage, which was amazing. That was a really amazing healing gift to give permission for rage to flourish and exist. Now, when you do that with rage or things that have a very destructive quality, it's important to have a channel that you can use that as an outlet so that you're not harming yourself or people. My channel was coloring and ripping things. Someone I know, she said she ripped a phone book. They don't make phone books anymore, I don't think, but she ripped the phone book and got through her rage. Coloring was something that was associated with just my very early childhood and something I'm fairly subconscious about because I still can't color inside lines. By the way, those adult coloring books that were all the rage, I don't know if they still are. I picked one up in a bookstore. I didn't know they were all the rage. I just thought it was an interesting thing. And they were way too complicated for me. They had way too many tiny little parts to make these pictures beautiful. I don't know if I actually finished any picture because it was too much. And so that was another way for me to take care of myself, was to do whatever I could do in that moment while I was expressing my rage. But rage, it would just kind of take over me and it would be so fully present. And that was really the first time in my life that I had given myself permission to be that present with my rage. The thing about rage, I'm using rage as an example. It's really true for, I would say, most emotions, if not all of them. The thing about rage is that, the thing about layers and healing is that the thing that you think is the thing you're working on is almost never the thing you're actually working on. So rage, with rage specifically, first of all, people and situations that I thought I had the rage at, I did, but when that rage got expressed and moved out of the way, I realized that there was rage underneath for other people in situations who were related to the first, perhaps complicit, or at least in my own mind, perhaps complicit, and not I didn't know I had rage at these people and situations until I had moved the initial rage out of the way. I had felt it, I had processed through it. And rage wasn't about rage at all, is what it turned out. Rage was really about my sense of feeling abandoned and neglected, not neglected in a you need to call child protective services kind of way. Just small children feelings of abandonment and neglect that were likely rooted in myself. You know, it wasn't even something I was particularly conscious of. And healing is that way. Healing is a very multi-layered process. If you've ever read maybe Dante's Inferno, I can't get past the third gate of hell. There's 7 gates of hell there, where one layer and then the next and then the next are peeled off continuously. That might work well for men, I would say. For women, try Inanna and her descent. That was really powerful for me as a woman to understand that, to experience women, a woman, and Inanna is the queen of heaven and earth. So to experience her also, this shedding of layers. And Inanna as queen of heaven and earth, she goes to the underworld where her sister, Ereshkigal, is the queen of the underworld. So it's this really dualistic, dual-sided, multi-sided, I would say, aspect of layering and unlayering to healing. And so there's often a destabilization process that happens one thing at a time, or maybe a bunch of things at a bunch of times. But the layering, in grad school, at some point, we enacted this. We enacted this descent, and I was Inanna. And so the end of her descent, she's in the underworld, and she's hung on a meat hook with her skin turned inside out. And so as Inanna, I had to embody that. And I was shook. I'm still shook, like 6 or 7 years later. That was a really, really powerful experience. So what's also important about healing and the layers of healing and the layers of layering is that things are not what they appear to be, and there is usefulness. It was necessary for me to be hung inside out on a meat hook. It was my cohort sisters, the women in my master's program, are, first of all, amazing and badass. Let me just be super clear about that. And so we together created this tremendously deep and rich container where we could do this healing in layers and get hung on a meat hook with our skin turned inside out. And so enacting in ritual, the universe doesn't really know the difference between what's real and what you're imagining to be real. And so enacting in ritual is a powerful way to release. I also did, for my master's thesis, I wrote and performed a one-woman show with no theater background. That's a long story, but that was very healing for me. That also helped me to enact the layers. At some point, I had been putting layers on for a lot of the show, and then there's a scene where I'm taking these layers off and dragging them behind me and leaving them behind. And then I get to choose. I get to choose what I fill myself with. I use the analogy of pregnancy, so I'm putting it in a pregnant belly, a belly that becomes pregnant, and then I kind of end the show with this pregnant belly turned to the side, so you can see that there was so much possibility. I was pregnant with possibility at the time. And so really taking time and space to honor the layering that is the healing process, that it's not just, one weekend or one spa day or anything like that. The one-off things are great for maybe maintenance, and healing is a very deep and layered and nuanced process that we think we're going in for one thing, and it's almost always something completely different. For me, it was rage being kind of a moniker for feeling abandoned and abandonment, and really just what does that mean for me in my world, in my life, in the life that got me up to this point. So really just taking care of yourself in that. Sometimes the things that you need, the things that are coming up, aren't really things that you thought about at all. And it's okay to do those things in any given moment. It's okay to be gentle with yourself. It's okay if you have it and need to take a personal day, and you don't have to explain the what or the why to anyone if you need that. And that's easy to say when I don't have kids and all that. That's fine. But really figure out ways where you can give yourself some time and space for healing, for this very multi-layered healing process. As it's happening, when it's over, there's always maintenance to be done, and you still may hit the same things. You still may come up against the same issues, and it's like a spiral. So you may have come up against them from a different perspective this time. So that was on my mind on my morning walk. Nothing subtle, nothing light. Take good care of yourselves today, and drink a lot of water. Water is great for processing. Our bodies are made up of so much water that we often need water to process. Water, good liquids, those sorts of things. If you need some soup, get yourself some soup that is comforting. It's okay to comfort yourself in these multi-layered moments and levels of healing. All right, y'all, Dr. Charli, that was a lot. So let's take a deep breath in just with that, and just see if we can breathe in warm fuzzies and breathe out and release anything and everything that needs to be breathed out and released. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in self-love and self-care, taking great care of yourself, and breathe out Really everything that needs to be released. All right, y'all. This was a bit of a long one. I tried to get it to 5 minutes, but that's not a 5-minute topic. I will see you again soon. Until that time, you take great care. I really mean that. Take great care. Bye now.